above the city, on a tall column, stood the statue of the Happy Prince. He was gilded all over with thin leaves of fine gold. For eyes, he had 2 bright sapphires, and a large red ruby glowed on his sword hilt.
He is as beautiful as a weather vane, only not quite so useful. Why can't you be like the Happy Prince? The Happy Prince never dreams of crying for anything.
I am glad there is someone in the world who is quite happy.
He looks like an angel.
Now, how do you know? You've never seen one.
Oh, but we have in our dreams.
One night there flew over the city a little swallow. His friends had gone away to Egypt 6 weeks before, but he had been delayed. And now he had been flying all day trying to catch up with them. But now he was tired, and when he saw the statue of the Happy Prince, it looked like an ideal place to spend the night. I have a golden bedroom, he thought to himself as he looked around, and he prepared to go to sleep. But just as he put his head on his wing, what a curious thing, he thought. There is not a single cloud in the sky, and yet it is raining.
My friends told me the climate in the north of Europe is really dreadful this time of year, but I would never have guessed it could rain on a beautiful night like tonight. Oh.
But when the young swallow looked up, the eyes of the Happy Prince were filled with tears, and tears were running down his golden cheeks.
Who are you and why are you crying?
I am the Happy Prince, and when I was alive I had a human heart. Yet I did not know what tears were, for I lived in the palace where sorrow is not allowed to enter. Round the garden ran a very lofty wall, but I never cared to ask what lay beyond it. Everything about me was so beautiful. So I lived and so I died, and now they have set me up here so high that I can see all the ugliness and all the misery of my city, and though my heart is made of lead, I cannot choose but weep. Far away in a little street there is a poor house. One of the windows is open, and through it I can see a woman seated at a table. Her face is thin and worn, and she has coarse red hands, all pricked by the needle, for she is a seamstress. In a bed in the corner of the room, her little boy is lying ill. He has a fever and is asking for oranges. His mother has nothing to give him, so he's crying. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, will you not bring her the ruby out of my sword hilt? My feet are fastened to this pedestal, and I cannot move.
I must be off for Egypt, thought the swallow. My friends are flying up and down the Nile already. But the Happy Prince looked so sad that the little swallow was sorry. So the swallow picked out the great ruby from the prince's sword and flew away with it in his beak over the roofs of the town. The little swallow felt as though he had done something very nice when he had given the mother the ruby. Now she could buy oranges for her son, and he would soon be well. He quickly flew off to tell the Happy Prince. That night he dreamed of his friends. They too must now be asleep, perhaps in the pyramid of an Egyptian king, or perhaps there among the bulrushes beside the great granite throne of Memnon. When day broke, it was noticeably colder, and he was chilled to the bone.
Tonight I go to Egypt to meet my friends. Is there anything I can do for you there?
Swallow, swallow, little swallow, will you not stay with me one night longer? Far away across the city, I see a young man in his small apartment. He is leaning over a desk covered with papers. He is trying to finish a play, but he is too cold to write anymore. There is no fire, and hunger has made him faint. Oh, swallow, pluck out one of my sapphire eyes and take it to him. He will sell it to a jeweler and buy food and firewood and finish his play.
The swallow was greatly surprised. He could not think of taking away the eye of his friend.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow, do as I command you.
So the swallow plucked out the prince's eye and flew away to the student's room. The young man had his head buried in his hands, so he did not hear the flutter of birds' wings. And when he looked up, he found the beautiful sapphire. He looked quite happy.
I have come to bid you goodbye, my friend. I shall miss you.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow, will you not stay with me one night longer?
It is winter here, but in Egypt the sun is warm. I will bring you back 2 beautiful jewels in place of those you have given away.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow, in the square below stands a little match girl. She has let her matches fall in the gutter, and they are spoiled. Her father will scold her if she does not bring home some money. She is crying. She has no shoes or stockings, and her little head is bare. Pluck out my other eye and give it to her, and her father will not scold her.
I will stay with you one night longer, but I cannot pluck out your eye. You would be quite blind then.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow, do as I command you.
So he plucked out the prince's other eye and darted down with it.
Oh, what a lovely piece of glass. Baba!
So once more the faithful swallow returned to the happy prince. But when he saw his friend now blind, his heart grew heavy with sorrow. Each day dawning was colder than the last, and the swallow knew that if he did not leave soon, it would be too late. But he could not fly off and leave his friend alone in his darkness.
You are blind now, so I will stay with you always.
No, little swallow, you must go away to Egypt.
I will stay with you always and forever.
All that day, he sat on the prince's shoulder and told him stories of what he had seen in strange lands.
Dear little swallow, you tell me of marvelous things, but more marvelous than anything is the suffering of men and of women. Fly over my city, little swallow, and tell me what you see there.
So the swallow flew over the great city and saw beggars freezing on street corners or sitting hungry in front of rich people's gates. He even saw children left alone, afraid and crying. Then he flew back and told the prince what he had seen.
I am covered with fine gold. You must take it off, leaf by leaf, and give it to my poor.
Leaf after leaf of the fine gold the swallow picked off, till the happy prince looked quite dull and gray. Then the snow came, and after the snow came the frost. The poor little swallow grew colder and colder, but he would not leave the prince. He loved him too well. The swallow dreamed of his friends playing in the warmth of the Egyptian sun, of the Sphinx, who is as old as the world itself and who knows everything, of the great green snake that sleeps in a palm tree and has 20 priests to feed it with honey cakes. But here, winter now had the town firm in its icy grip, and food became harder and harder to find. The swallow tried to keep warm by flapping its wings and picked up crumbs outside the baker's door when the baker was not looking. But at last he knew that his time had come. He had just strength enough to fly up to the prince's shoulder once more.
Goodbye, dear prince, for it is not to Egypt that I am going. I do not regret leaving this cold and gloom, but I am most sorry to leave you behind with no one to tell you of your city and your grateful people. Farewell, dear prince.
At that moment, a most strange thing happened. The happy prince's leaden heart had snapped right in two. And so the sensitive and generous prince and his faithful friend, the swallow, were raised into the heavens where they could be rewarded eternally for their kindness.